Attention, please. Kindly turn off your mobile phones. Hello. Kindly turn off your mobile phones. Hello, hello.
Kind attention. Faculty awardees are requested to occupy the third row. Thank you. Student awardees are requested to occupy the front row. Audience, please switch off your mobile phones. Students are asked to maintain silence throughout the event. Students are asked to maintain silence throughout the evening. The event is about to begin. Stage for public. Stage for public.
Students quite attention.
Kind attention. Students, please maintain silence. Ma'am, that is supposed to be done. That is supposed to be done. Guys, off by
Dignitaries are requested to occupy the dais. Good evening to one and all present here. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to Tech Day 2022 at PSG College of Technology.
Success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success, and we are here to recognize that consistent hard work. Tech Day is PhD Tech's annual day where techies' achievements are recognized.
Let us now begin the ceremony on an auspicious note with a prayer song. I call upon Mrs. Neshika of second year Sandwich Production Engineering to invoke the blessings of our Lord Almighty.
சீராழும் வதனவனாத்திகள் பரத கண்டமிதே கப்பலமது சிறந்த திராவிடவன் திருநாடம் தற்பசிறல் பிறகுதலும் பரிசலரும் திலகமுனை அத்திலக வாசனைப்ப அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுறான எத்திசையும் புகழ் மலர்க்க இறந்த புறம் தமிழனங்காய் தமிழனங்காய் உன் சீரிலமை திறந்த செயல்ல வந்து வாழ்த்துதுமாய் வாழ்த்துதுமாய் வாழ்த்துதுமாய்.
Please be seated.
I now call upon the co-chairperson of the Students' Union, Mr. Sri Sairam, to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening. Present here.
It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the Tech Day 2022 PhD College of Technology. Success does not happen by chance. It takes dedication, effort, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most importantly, so for what we are doing or learning to accomplish. We have all joined here today, all are those who have done precisely that. We would like to extend our special welcome to our chief guest, Mr. Radhakrishnan Rajagopalan, and our principal, Dr. K. Prakasan, deans, associate deans, HODs, faculty, staffs, guests, parents, and all awardees. Finally, I welcome all of you dear students for being here today and showing your support to the well-deserved winners of today. Once again, I welcome all of you to this splendid evening. You all have a pleasant time. Thank you.
Thank you. I now call upon the chairman of the Students' Union, Mr. Nanda Kumar, to proceed with the presentation of the Students' Union Annual Report.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. I take the privilege in highlighting the annual report of Students' Union 21-22. The FO is not only a body to represent the students, but also a body to serve them. With 26 clubs, 38 associations, 9 chapters, NSS and NCC, we provide a variety of opportunities for students to nurture their curricular, co-curricular, and extracurricular activities and promoting social, cultural, literary, recreational, and curricular skills to our clubs. Students are able to not only gain knowledge in the preferred sphere of interest, but also showcase and compete with their peers. A look back on this year speaks to us about what the SC has done and the consequential effects it has had. Starting off with the flag hoisting on Independence Day, on 15th August 2021, we honored the valor and spirit of the fighters who fought for our independence. Respected Dr. K. Prakasan, the principal of PhD, raised the tricolor and all stood for the national anthem. Students' Union then went on to conduct the induction program of local entry students 21-22 and induction program of first year B.Tech 21-22 on 20th and 21st October 2021. Both events had speakers across disciplines who guided the participants in taking up the new roles as students of PhD Tech. Inauguration of Students' Union was held through an online platform on 9th November 2021 with Mr. S. Sendal, President, EDS Technologies Private Limited as the chief guest. Students' Union then welcomed the new academic year, an event exclusive to secondary students brainstorm on 12th November 2021. Students break into teams, we then got a variety of different issues in the world, like social, developmental, technological, and more. Students then produce solutions to these issues, healthy discussions with their teammates. Students' Union then revitalized the Global Citizen in us all with an international speaker talk series from December 2021 to January 2022. A talk on innovation and global health was given by Mr. Larry Cole, the president of CU Group. Mr. Cole spoke about beginning your own entrepreneurship journey before transitioning into a formal presentation on the sanitization properties of copper and its application throughout the years. The second talk of this series was by Dr. P.T. John, Director of Chitkara Global Health Institute and Harvard Lead Fellow. Dr. P.T. John addressed the gathering about the transition from student life to a successful career, underlining the importance of networking and communication, smart work over hard work, and time management, and working in the real world. To honor the martyrs of our freedom and to mark the beginnings of our constitution, the 73rd Republic Day was celebrated in our campus. Dr. K. Prakasan, principal of PhD Tech, unfurled the national flag and took the national pledge. A quick insight into Kriya 22, the brainchild of the Students' Union, held on 12th and 13th March 2022. A conglomeration of the erudite brains across the Indian heartland. The technical symposium was a grand success with 30 events and 3 workshops spanning across the fields of core engineering, coding, management, and design. Kriya 2022 witnessed participants across colleges in and around Tamil Nadu. Around 400 students participated in the event. The National Service Scheme, having 5 units at PhD College of Technology, has done a tremendous job by exploring the students to meet the societal challenges through Not Me, But You, and by organizing several one-day camps and seven-day special camps at adopted villages. National Cadet Corps having artillery wings for both men and women, and our wing has meticulous in training the young students to enhance their physical, psychological, and societal perspectives and to mold them by conducting several leadership camps. They conducted BNC certification examination on campus and around 110 cadets certified with BNC certificates. Last but not definitely the least, this academic calendar marks the year of the inauguration of Fingers on 17th March 2022. Finance Club of KG Tech in place to spread financial awareness to all students. The chief guest was the N. Sundar Kumar, IRS, Commissioner of Income Tax, delivered an address to all students. Not only he informed, but also guided the students with insightful rhetoric and anecdotes. As aforementioned, Students' Union is about the students. How we build a community for each other, for everyone to partake in. From conducting flagship events to weekly club and association meetings and welcoming offline gatherings, the success of all clubs, associations, NSF, and NCC today would not have been possible without the efforts of the office bearers. More appreciation would not justify the lengths all the 26 clubs, 13 associations, along with NSS and NCC of the students union have gone through, in order to ensure putting together quality and authentic events for the students of PhD Tech to experience. I thank all the faculty advisors, deans, associate deans, faculty advisors of all the clubs and associations for being the pillar of support in all the activities. Thank you.
Thank you.
I request Dr. K. Prakasan, Principal, PhD College of Technology, to deliver the presidential address.
Respected chief guest of today's function, Sri Radhakrishnan Rajagopalan, Senior Vice President and Global Delivery Head for Technology Services at Mindtree, Bengaluru, heads of PhD institutions, deans, controller of examinations, director of exams, heads of departments, members of faculty, staff, alumni, and the office bearers of Alumni Association, media, Chairman SU and his team of office bearers, invitees, parents, and my dear students. Good evening and welcome. It is my duty to do the presidential address. At the same time, I have to give a tech day report. I will try to be brief as much as I can. There is a saying, brevity is the soul of wit. And my work is reduced by the Students' Union Chairman. Before I read this report, after 2 years we are assembling here in the same hall, where we used to celebrate many of our major events. So this is a post-COVID first activity of Students' Union. For this, I thank all of you, all the stakeholders, management, government, military bodies, companies, and all the supporting units of the college for being capable of standing here and speaking to you. Many who have gone through some type of isolation, internalization, I can say meditation sometime. Even if you sleep without anything, it is a good process, without thoughts. It gives you some new observations, new revelations, and sometimes it becomes practical after some time. So we could do something after the COVID. All this because of your support of parents, students. With this opening thanks and welcome, we will present the report. At the institute level, the college runs 20 UG programs and 32 PG programs and PhD programs in almost all the departments. The overall student strength stands at 7,730, which includes 2,787 girl students, We were able to perform exceedingly well with the dedicated service of 558 teaching faculty and 343 supporting staff. In the NIRF ranking, in engineering category, we are 53, competing with all the IITs and centrally funded institutions. And in the overall, we are 86. So that speaks about the contribution commitment of every element of the campus. And in some of the recent ranking, the educational world, we are fourth in the private, among the private institutions in the whole nation, and second in Tamil Nadu. The new program in computer science is launched, waiting for the ACT for final clearance. It is BE Computer Science and Engineering, Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. All this happens because of the usage of data excessively in our day-to-day life. It will be starting this year. During this academic year, existing accreditation was extended by 1 year for 6 UG programs, namely civil engineering, mechanical, IT, biomedical, production, and computer science. And other programs are applying and waiting for the faculty to visit. Recently, we had another visit. So as on date, 30 programs, 15 UG and 15 PG are accredited out of 40 programs which are eligible for accreditation. Exam results were too good, very good, 97.14 overall pass percentage. Now, derivative of it, substantiating the success, placement. We are very happy to inform that 1,182 students are placed in engineering and science. Of 1,564 opted for placement. I think it will increase after another 1 or 2 months, and 157 companies visited the campus. And as a part of autonomous status, we completed academic audit of all the programs with 2 eminent vice chancellors, one Professor Srinivasa Murthy, NIT Director, Suratkal. The other one, Professor A.G. Sangameshwara, JSS University, Mysore. They have given excellent feedback. Some areas for improvement, which we will be completing. And the entire campus, we did the energy and environmental audit this time, approved center in Coimbatore. And many of the best practices were highlighted, especially usage of LED lights, use of solar energy sources, and net zero energy campus, since most of the energy utilized is being utilized through effective green management resources. Some of the highlights I'll read out. Number of matured trees available in the college campus is 1,371. This number may be a new finding, counted everything manually and labeled. Thanks to Professor AK and his team, Dean IR&D. The annual energy saved from the rooftop solar PV system is about 7.29 lakhs kilowatt hour, which reduces 600 tons of CO2 emission per annum. So like this, we could do something in the environment. That is a great achievement with the continuous support of management and the general maintenance, warehouse. They monitor the consumption of energy. Coming to R&D, we have been identified by ACT as one of the 59 model centers for selection on full-time PhD students under the doctoral fellowship program. All the departments of the college are recognized for doctoral research work. There are 539 scholars pursuing PhD under full-time and part-time. This year, 90 scholars obtained their PhDs. In this, 16 of our faculty members also received their PhD. We have a total of 392 PhD holders. During COVID, many of us contributed in many ways, which will not be told in any place. We do it as a part of our duty, but still, there were some appreciations given by societies. The HOD of Textile Technology, Dr. G. Pilavadi, she received a special appreciation award 2021. The Samaritans COVID Warrior Engineering, given by Institution of Engineers, Coimbatore Local Center. And publications are good, about 786 papers in national and international journals, conferences, national conferences. 3 international conferences, 7 national conferences were held, and several workshops and FDPs. 13 MOUs were signed with various corporates. Equipment worth 1.52 crores were added during this year, and 5 major research projects worth 4 crores were sanctioned by DST, ACT, and AREB to PhD College of Technology. More than 1,000 organizations used services of our faculty for training, continuing education program, and consultancy services, earning about 2 crores. The new effort is on Institution Innovation Council, where students are participating in innovating the technology, innovating processes, innovative ideas, and they have participated in many hackathons and competitions. And MOU with the NASCOM Foundation, there were good appreciation and some of the prizes were won by our students. Then technology transfer, Dr. L.S. Jayashree of Computer Science and Engineering, there is a technology transfer held in the campus for assistive technology and rehabilitation engineering solutions, PhD cares. This is for the gait monitoring for the disabled, how they walk, to capture the data and support it with medicines and treatment. The Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering completed one research project, Internet of Things based smart water supply and distribution system for Coimbatore City, appreciated by the administration of Coimbatore Corporation. It was given by publicity in the media. It is supported by Department of Science and Technology. We thank the management and the government. Congratulations to the department. Scholarships. During this year, 1,207 UG and EG students received scholarships from different government and other agencies, amounting to a total value of 1 crore 16,45,767 rupees. And ACT gate stipend rupees 30,62,800 was sanctioned for 21 second year and 7 first year PG students. Sri Shivanala, an alumnus of PhD Tech and founder of HCL, has instituted GRD Centenary Scholarship during the Golden Jubilee celebration of his batch in the year 2016. Every year, 4 students, 2 boys and 2 girls, selected among first year students are receiving scholarship for their entire course of study, 4 years from first year onwards. Scholarship covers the entire fee, both college and hostel, and the laptop. 20 students are receiving rupees 16 lakhs 35,595 under Sri Shivanada scholarship. We thank the philanthropic mind of Sri Shivanada. Students' activities, as mentioned by the chairman SU, Students' Union election, their installation of office bearers, everything was done as per norms. It was on October 9, 2021. 26 clubs, 38 associations, and 9 chapters. Recently, we had 2 more also inaugurated. They have various activities. NSS. Best NSS Unit Award was backed by our college. Best NSS Program Officer was received by Dr. L. Tulasimani, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE, and Best NSS Volunteer Award received by S.M. Priyadarshini, 4th year BE, and P. Godalan, 4th year BE, Mechanical Sandwich. So that shows the contribution of NSS volunteers and NSS unit to the society. And they have conducted a lot of camps, other activities under the banner of NSS. Coming to NCC, the strength of Army wing of NCC is 104, overall paid strength in the college is 256, and all 40 regular parades are conducted online at that time. Cadet young parade, second year BE Production Engineering, has been selected as the best cadet to represent Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, and Andaman Nicobar directly at the national level best cadet competition and youth exchange program to be held shortly. Major Dr. M.D. Kannan has been awarded the BG NCC Commendation Card for the year 2021 for his most sincerity, dedication, and exemplary performance in NCC and contribution to the implementation of NCC elective courses. Sports, it's a big list. Yesterday we celebrated Sports Day, and there were many activities, but due to the pandemic, the duration was short to participate in the events, and they have won great laurels from university level, district level, and state level. Coming to library, 2,55,895 books are available in the library. During pandemic, it is expanded with the NDLI network and Enlist network, so students can sit at home and learn through crores of resources available with IIT Kharagpur as the main database. And I think during pandemic they used it well. Alumni Association, a very important part of PhD Tech. They support students with scholarships. 90 lakhs 46,455 rupees were distributed to 123 students this year. Fifth edition of Alumni Congress was held on 19th March 2022, and more than 600 distinguished alumni participated in the program. Many of them spoke on current topics on networking and handholding. Best Projects Awards distributed to 52 UG students and 35 PG students. Alumni induction program for UG and PG students was held on April 29, 2022. One characteristic of the association what they have taken up is the database creation for all the alumni since inception and making it available in the mobile phone as an ID card for the album. That batch, it has been done and the latest batches are ready to receive it. They have already received it. But the very senior batches who are on the job, it's a great effort. So what I did is I presented the data. I have to interpret it will be another 2 minutes. All the achievements, awards, plus whatever is coming to each one of you is the reciprocal behavior of nature, the kind of reciprocal behavior of nature for the change that you have made within you. If you want to change something, first we have to change. So many of us who have received this award, they have made conscious efforts to influence somebody. That is the meaning of these awards. So the student getting placed, it is not the placement number for me, that 182. They are the change makers. They join big organizations who are already engaged in making the change, and they participate as a team member in that big team. So the any achievement in the academic campus, these are all the harbingers of change that you are going to make. So I congratulate all the students for the effort that you have put to make a small change or a big change or biggest change. Then the role of education. What will gives you? Education gives you the ability to concentrate. When you concentrate, you will be able to define problems that are relevant. And when you define the problem, solutions will be within. You will not search outside, and you will get the support for that. So the rigorous academic process is the most fundamental for the ability to change. The best academic performance, he or she would have made some change in her study pattern, the way they present themselves. The highest paid salary who gets such a job, he would have made a change. A teacher, faculty getting an award, they would have made a change. So change is what is expected at every level. And if you listen to all the entrepreneurs who make a mark in the public as a result of their merit, all of them speak about their rigorous academic background. So I request you all the time, please focus on good academics, building. You can become whatever you want. And it gives you the ability to identify yourself, identify your talent, identify your tendencies, and you can accomplish your self-actualization needs. Therefore, as a teacher, I would recommend you to go through a very rigorous academic process all the time, so that you will shine like gold, with a golden hue with time. I wish you all the best. I congratulate all the awardees. Thank you for your opportunity here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I now call upon Mr. Kumaresh, Secretary Man, to introduce the chief guest.
Good evening, everyone. I would now like to take this opportunity to welcome our esteemed chief guest of the day, Mr. Radhakrishnan Rajagopalan. Mr. Radhakrishnan is the Senior Vice President and Global Delivery Head for Technology Services at Mindtree, the renowned multinational information technology company that deals with a diverse range of domains, including e-commerce, cloud computing, data analytics, and enterprise resource planning. Before joining Mindtree, he had worked in various high-impact leadership roles at numerous prestigious firms and also co-founded Hansville Consulting LLP, a startup advisory firm. As the managing director and general manager of the U.S. Offshore Advisory Acceleration Center at PwC, he is responsible for spearheading delivery, operations, people, quality, and business transformation agenda across management, risk, and technology consulting. As a member of the executive leadership team at Cognizant, Mr. Radhakrishnan had served as the global delivery head for digital businesses, where he was responsible for overseeing analytics, interactive, and inclusion products and solutions. As a part of IBM Informix and CoSoft India Limited, he was involved in engineering world-class relational database platforms and tools. Mr. Radhakrishnan is a graduate in computer science, a postgraduate in management from Stewart School of Business, and is an alumnus of the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. Mr. Radhakrishnan is known for strong entrepreneurial skills, strategic business and vision development, M&A, process improvement, and change management experience, as manifested by his demonstrable success as an industry thought leader, solution architect, and program manager for large global technology and business organizations. Mr. Radhakrishnan has taken keen interest in wildlife photography and conservation. He's also passionate about cooking and an avid follower of F1 racing. As is evident by now, we have in us an all-rounded and passionate industry leader capable of inspiring budding engineers like those at our college. On behalf of our college, I would now like to extend a heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Radhakrishnan for having taken time out of his busy schedule to grace our event today. Thank you.
Thank you. I take immense pleasure in inviting the chief guest of today's event, Mr. Radhakrishnan Rajagopalan, Senior Vice President and Global Delivery Head, Technology Services, Mindtree, Bengaluru, to share his thoughts with us on this occasion.
Thank you. Dr. Prakasan, Dr. Natarajan, Professor Natarajan, distinguished faculties, students, good evening and a very warm welcome. It's always difficult to speak when you have such distinguished faculties and teachers in front of you, and I'm no different than any of you here. In fact, as I was boarding my flight from Bangalore, I was wondering what am I going to speak here with all of these eminent faculties and professors around. The thought process did come to my mind. Then I sort of convinced myself, once a student, you're always a student. So therefore, your life becomes much more easier, right? You can speak your mind freely. So from that perspective, I'm going to be a generalist today and no particular order. So don't, try to put a sequence to what I'm speaking. It's going to be completely freewheeling from my conversation perspective. So think of this more of a conversation, not as a very preachy thing from that perspective. I recall a very short story, if you will. Right? Just wanted to set the context because we are celebrating Tech Day today. And a lot of the achievements that the industry has seen in the last 30, 35 years, we can corroborate that to some of the industry movers and somebody who were wanting to be innovators, somebody who are wanting to set the stage. So the pioneers of this need not necessarily come from the tech industry. So, I would like to give you a very short snippet of one such person that I usually adore. Some of you might have even read his story. George Mallory is one of the British mountaineers in the 1920s, and he used to be part of the British Army. And he quit the British Army and set up the Himalayan Survey Group in India. So he became part of that group. And ever since he saw the mountains, he decided to conquer. And in those days, in 1920s and 1930s, it's not easy to cross or get above the 8,000ers. It's a very tough challenge. No oxygen bottles. You don't have the suits that you would want to wear. You don't have the boots to climb. And it's minus 50 degrees Celsius. So he set his sight and he wanted to climb Mount Everest.
in those days, and the tallest peak in the world even today. So 1920s to 1925, he sort of attempted everything. Every time he attempted, it was a failure. So he probably had 3 attempts that he tried, and none resulted in success. Unfortunately, his last ascent, he couldn't come back from Mount Everest. It's still debatable whether he did the summit or not. But the moral of the story is that when the press asked him, so why do you want to climb Mount Everest? What fascinates you? Why do you want to do that? His answer to the press was just 3 words: because it's there. Right? And that was his famous statement. He just said that because it's there. So what it means is that, and what he did in those years set the tone for all other expeditions, the mountaineers. And today there is not a single 8,000er that has not been conquered. Right? He himself was not a success, but what he did was very brave. What he attempted doing actually set the tone for others to follow. In more than many ways, the tech industry is exactly like that. Right? It's not often that the people who took the lead or were taking the lead to do something in the innovation, as they say, in anything that is discovered or stays discovered, unless it is commercialized. Anything that is discovered, which is commercially a success, becomes an innovation. Right? So there's a very thin line between discovery and innovation. So most of the tech part that we are going through in the industry today is that somebody is taking that initiative. Somebody like us is taking that initiative to create something or set a new trend or break away from the silos, which actually is setting the trend. And yes, there are always followers who are making money out of that, right? So this George Mallory story is very close to my heart because it was not easy. And he tried to do something which was not done before. He tried to do something which was unheard of. He tried to do something which was unknown at that time. No equipments, nothing, and he was very brave. And I think the tech industry today is exactly in that part. I would like to also recall my CEO, Mr. Debashis Chatterjee, is a veteran in the industry. So he often used to say, the industry has seen many S-curves. An S-curve is like an integration symbol you can think of, an extended and elongated, sigmoid that you can think of. The industry has gone through the tech industry has gone through many S-curves, right, of which 5 I've been lucky to be part of. The interesting thing about the S-curves is that either you make it or you don't. People who navigate every S-curve last for a specific period of time in the tech industry. And people who have crossed or jumped from one S-curve to other S-curve, very brave, like George Mallory, have quite made it. And I heard Shiv Nada is one such person, is an alumni of this institution. It's very proud to hear that. So anybody who is crossing the S-curves, seamlessly are the ones who actually make it. So many would stay in an S-curve. The difference is, are you relevant? Or how is you irrelevant? People who cross these S-curves continuously stay relevant. And I can just quote, I'm an IT professional. I understand there are many in this group who may not be IT, but I say probably will resonate well with most of you. The first S-curve in the IT industry that we saw was in the early 50s and 60s. It was called the mainframe era, and many of you would recall. Computers were the size of these rooms, right? And they were doing smaller tasks. The consumption of power, etc., was so high, and that lasted for nearly 25 years. People had time. You can jump in. It's like getting onto a moving train. You can. An industry is going through a 25 years period of an S-curve. You can jump in anytime, you can exit anytime. You have a time advantage. The next S-curve that came during that period was the client-server technology. And that lasted for 15 years, and people could move in and move out. And then came the .com as an S-curve. The time shrunk to less than about 10 years. And then came SMAC, social mobile analytics and cloud, and some of you guys will now call it as a FANG, Facebook, Apple, Netflix, and Google, right? So some of these technologies, when it came into the IT industry, it was kind of very strange and was much compressed. The S-curve lasted only for 6 to 7 years, right? And then came the digital wave. Now we are in metaverse, right? And most companies have started talking about metaverse. So you can see that progressively, when this S-curve starts appearing, the timeline is compressed. Innovation peaks. The tech industry is booming. which means the people who are navigating these S-curves or traversing these S-curves or jumping from one S-curve to another S-curve have to make phenomenal amount of adjustments. And if you look at what goes continuously along this line is this continuous learning process. Right? If you don't learn, you cannot jump the S-curves. And if you don't jump the S-curves, you're going to be irrelevant soon. Right? And that's exactly how the trajectory is going. So I think from that perspective, innovation and tech always have gone together, right? It's been 50 years since we have seen this explosion, and sometimes I strongly believe that even the laws are getting broken here, and we used to say that the computing power is doubling every year, and sometimes I believe that it's not true anymore. It's probably 3 to 4 times as what the technology is growing. So from that perspective, as students, as myself who's been a professional in this industry for such a long time, there is one common thread that unites us all is our ability to stay relevant, and that relevancy can be achieved only by continuous learning. So as we say, I strongly believe that when you're in the academic institutions, when you're in the college, a lot of things are given, right? Infrastructure is provided, learning is provided, opportunities are provided, right? You've been advised, you've been coached, you've been mentored by all the professors and all the students that you work with or learn with. But welcome to the corporate world. None of that is true. Right? You have your own. You got to seek opportunities. Right? You have to find your mentors. You have to find your coaches, and nobody is going to come back and tell you that if you have not done this well, you're not going to square marks. Right? And quite often than not, you'll figure out that you have not done well in the end of the year appraisal. Right? When your manager calls that dreaded day, the dreaded moment, and says that you have not fared well, so therefore you're not going to be promoted, that's when it hits you very hard. And there is no one to coach me or mentor me. Right? So training your eyes to look at opportunities as you work along. Opportunities won't come. You have to go for it. Right? You have to understand what is being presented in the tech world. Right? And if you see all around, there are 150 things that are happening all the time. Right? So for somebody who you've been provided with information, you've been provided with opportunity, you've been provided with a platform, you become seekers of knowledge, you become seekers of opportunities. Right? You become seekers of mentors. Right? Everything suddenly, falls back on you. Right? You are yourself. You got to go back. You got to seek your relevancy in the industry. Right? So that's the corporate world that will welcome you. Right? When you actually move out of your academic institutions into the work world. Right? But not always bad. Don't worry. Right? And we are all here to help you. Right? Our story we promise. Right. So I think that transition is what is going to be very, very key as you graduate, as you move from your academic institutions into the corporate world. Right. That's going to be a very big challenge, making those finer adjustments, making those continuous learning as a process that you need to imbibe, right? And wanting to be the innovator that you want to be, right? And I would probably say that a lot of people talk about innovation in a very stretched term. And sometimes we used to call this as mini innovation, right? A continuous process of trying to find yourself, what is the new thing. The tech world is very, very sensitive to all these topics, right? Whether you work for a client, whether you work for research and development, you work for a prototype, you work for a proof of concept, innovation is there everywhere. You just need to seek it, right? Especially in the tech world. And that's why your characteristics will have to be adjusted and fine-tuned as you graduate from here and as you move into this tech world in the corporate side. That becomes a very, very, very important aspect of that. Right? It's an anecdotal reference. Most of the speeches that people do these days will quote the great Steve Jobs. Right? One of the famous quotes is, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." Right? I will not stretch it beyond a certain limit. You can stay hungry and you can stay foolish. And very few people who have stayed foolish and stayed hungry have become billionaires. For the rest of us, I would say stay hungry and stay smart. right? If you can do that, nothing like that, right? Associating foolishness with everything with that part does not make you a billionaire. So I think I heard in the speech that smart working versus hard working, and I think the tech industry in general, the speed at which things move. Remember, you're not going to be measured on how many hours that you spent on a task. You're going to be measured on how smart you worked and what is the productivity that you achieved. So suddenly the metrics will not be marks. Suddenly the metrics will not be the grades. Suddenly the metrics are going to be how productive you are, how quickly you actually brought an innovation, converted that into a product, and you start making money out of the tech. At the end of the day, any useful technology is the one that impacts the lives of people, right? At the end of the day, the technology is not going to solve world hunger and peace problem. Right? Is that technology good enough? Is your innovation good enough? Almost every single tech, in some ways, have positively impacted lives, right? And why are we talking about highly automated and sophisticated cars today? Driverless cars, why are we doing this today? We want to make sure that there is an accident-free road, especially true in Bangalore, right? Why are we doing all this? And I think every single technology, every single innovation that leads to a technology or a product is impacting the lives of people in its own way. Okay? And that's why if you look at it, in the last 5 years, you would have heard terminologies which were not heard before. Right? Suddenly finance has become fintech, right? Education has become edutech, right? And marketing has become martech. So there's a tech attached to everything that you do. Right, and by tech broadly, it's not just IT. A lot of technology comes from other industries as well. So any which way you look at it, technology is now the suffix of many things that we do. And the lines across businesses and industries are blurring. And we had a very interesting conversation just before this event. It's very difficult for a company to stay relevant in just one area, right? Now, Apple is manufacturing Apple Watches and automatically detects your ECG, takes an ECG, maintains your health, looks at your heart rate. Is Apple a tech company or a healthcare company? Right? And Tesla is now launching spacecrafts. And Tesla is launching insurance. JP Morgan Chase is a 125-year-old banking and financial services company is investing in healthcare. Right? And don't be surprised if tomorrow Oracle is into insurance. Right. So every company today is looking at adjacency businesses around them, and they have to cater their demands, and technology becomes a very key core component of that. And being in this industry, so I'm, having spent nearly 3 decades in the IT industry today, I'm as excited as I was, just that the landscape is changing. The timelines to instrument the change has dramatically come down. And that's the pace at which we are moving in the industry today. Right? And I work with fintech, I work with martech, I work with health tech, I work with edutech. It's fascinating. Right? The way people are doing business today is amazing. And the way companies are thinking in terms of how to bring a tech revolution inside of their organization is just phenomenal. Governments are changing, government regulations are changing, policies are changing. So it makes it very, very sensitive. And when you deal with technology, when you deal with organizations that are embedding technology in the process of growth, and the time to market become very, very critical. And nobody gives you, in the past, we can do programs which is 2 years and 3 years and 4 years. And today people expect these programs to be done in 3 months. And you go back and ask them one simple answer. With so much of technology around, why do we need so much time? Right? And I think that becomes a very, very important aspect of that. And that's one of the reasons why, whichever stream you are coming from, right, embedding technology is one of the essential things that I see that's happening in the world today. Right? So that's why this continuous learning as a process becomes a very, very important aspect of that. And I strongly believe in, well, organizations and governments and educational institutions and academics are institutionalizing a part of your change management in teaching and all of that stuff happening parallelly. It's very important for you to imbibe change management. If you're not changing with times, it becomes very, very difficult. And I see that in the corporate world as well. We have seen companies which grew to $0 to $1 billion in less than 5 years. We believe those are the companies that are going to be the change managers of the world, and they just simply perished. Right? They just simply perished. They did not exist. Their relevance is close to zero. Right? And companies that have sailed through this change, orchestrated this change, use of technology, continuous education, or the companies that have actually persisted and have seen over and over coming very, very strong, right? And if it can apply to the companies, it applies to us, because after all, at the end of the day, we are the ones that are part of those companies that are making waves, right? And I just wanted to leave this thought in your mind that when, as you go through this process of learning, go through this process of adopting this technology, rewiring, re-engineering, this process becomes a very, very important milestone from your perspective, right? So that change management on continuous academics becomes a very, and we, and Doctor talked about staying grounded on academics. And I think academics, the value of academics is going to continue even beyond this campus, right? It's not just us. The entire industry is embracing this. We incentivize, people to go back to their academic institutions. We select the best of the best, and we see a spark. We actually argue them, go do your PhD and come back, right? Because we strongly believe going back to the academics rekindles a passion in you to discover and invent, right? And becomes a very important aspect of any of the large companies today. In fact, many of us are actually sponsoring programs for our employees today to go back and do and rekindle their passion and come back. Yes. And I can tell you the success rate of such candidates coming in, a part of our companies' top dollars are actually spent on research and innovation. And the people who actually come and do the research part of it are all the people who actually revisit their campus. Right? And that brings about a quality in themselves. And if we can get that cream of people to come back, we create a culture in the organization that actually forces people to continuously go back and educate themselves, go back to their academics, come back. And that's the process that we want to institutionalize. And to that extent, it's not just us, like I said, a lot of, the IT services company or the manufacturing companies that we work with very closely, they're all big supporters of this process, and we see them happening all the time. And so that's why my key message is, at some point in time in the beginning of my career, I wanted to be a professor. Right, and two things came to my mind: courage of conviction on the subject that you want to teach, and appealing at least to be convincing to the students are two important aspects which I thought it would be very difficult for me. Then I went back to the drawing board to see what I can do best. And the one thing that I know is technology and being an innovator in the space. Maybe I should do that. Hopefully I saved a lot of people, right, by not being a professor. Right. But not all was lost, and I think I chose a track which actually helped me. At this juncture, I also would like to remind you, as you all, whether you go into mainstream academics after this program or you go into the corporate world, one thing that very strongly resonated with me during those times is that how do I see my career progression, right? Especially being in the tech. Right? Some see it as a short-term goals, and it's highly likely that when you pass out and then go into the corporate world, everything looks equally appealing. And who does not want to have instant gratification in life? Who does not want to have instant stardoms in their progression, right? What is more important for you to understand is, are you really going after your job or are you going after your career? Because career is long-term. Right? Job is instant gratification. So I see most of the youngsters who come out of academic institutions not paying attention to this. Right? That's the one thing that I would want you to seriously think. And it all happens in this campus. Here is where you find your friends, the professors, or your great mentors. This is a good time to revisit your books and start charting out your own long-term career. Right? Career has got a specific goal, by in another 20 years, what do you want to achieve? And job is usually 2 to 3 years. And you go something, you may get a lot of satisfaction in what you're doing for the moment, but think about it in 3 years. Are you going to be continuously happy with what you're doing? And is your progression in line? And do you want to become, there are two ways of looking at it. One is by title, that I'm this, I'm that, I grew up this. The other way to look at it is that your career progression could be, I'm a strong techie and I would like to go into a manager and post manager. Probably I spent 5 years being a manager, and after that, can I be a good leader? Can I be a good coach? Can I be a good mentor? And for you to become a good mentor, it's a lifetime affair. Right? That doesn't happen if you don't have a career plan. And career, that's why I said career is long term. Right? Career tells you have a plan for 25 years, next 25 years. Right? You can clearly see some of us who have grown in this, and I talked about the S curve, right? Multiple S curves. Each industry, IT industry, I gave you an example of 5 S curves that I have gone through it. Right? If I had not had a plan in my career as to what do I want to become, navigating those S curves in the technology space is extremely difficult. Right? That's where you go a little aimless. You don't have a fixed scope in mind that this is what I want to attack. This is how I want to evolve in my career. And then that becomes a job hunt rather than a career progression. So one thing that I would leave this thought in your mind as you build your career, as you build your plan, keep the long-term goal as what you want to, because irrespective of which company you join, right, that career, it is a career plan that you make for yourself for the next 20, 25 years that would help you chalk out, am I in the right company? Am I in the good company of good managers? Right? Am I doing the right tech stuff? Am I progressing? You have to have a scale for yourself to see where you're progressing. Right? I see a lot of a struggle when you come out of the campus and get into this, and you don't have that scale calibrated. If you don't have a long-term vision, it's always going to be difficult. It's a sinusoidal wave, right? You first think that I'm happy because you got it into Mindtree, you got it into Tatas, you got it into Wipros. And exactly after 2 years, the question comes in your mind, am I doing the right thing? If you're questioning about, am I doing the right thing from a career perspective, it's good. But if you think, I'm not happy, am I in the right place? It's a very difficult question to answer at this juncture. So I think from what I have seen, going through this part, I would strongly recommend each of you at this stage, when you're in the campus, what do you want to become in the next 20, 25 years? Your innovation journey, your technology journey starts here, not outside, not in the companies. The companies are giving you a platform. Industry is giving you a platform to grow. But how best do you want to utilize that? That planning has to happen here. Right, and that's we see it all the time. Hardly 15% of the workforce that we work with have a clear idea or a clear plan as to what do they want to become. Right, it becomes very evident. Who do we invest in leadership? Who do we invest in program managers? Who do we invest in technologists? As we say, if you want to become a chief technology officer, do you know what does it take? Right, if you want to become a CEO of a company, what does it take? And that planning is very, very important, especially in the areas that we work in the technology side. So keep that in the back of your mind. You're in a great place. This is a phenomenal institution, and I heard many things coming when the annual reports were presented. Make the best use of your time here. It's a great occasion to celebrate I was personally very pleased to see, and I heard 800 plus people are showing up. The last 2 years, we are confined to that small window, with everybody is now in a circle. Either in Zoom or Teams. Right? That's how we are used to working. And seeing 10 people in office has become very rare. Right? And suddenly it feels like, oh, we've got a little good visit. So this is a great, this is absolutely a great, opportunity for all of us, and make the best use of it. So hopefully what I said resonated well, and 3 or 4 things that I would like to leave. Tech area, anything. It's not just information technology. Any of the tech areas that we're working today is fast changing. It's fast-paced growth. Right? Unless you connect well with it, unless you are reassuring yourself with your continuous learning, unless you develop a career plan for yourself. Right? It's a difficult journey. We will do our bit from the corporate perspective to create a platform for you, to go back to the academics, do the continuous learning, provide an opportunity to, innovate and discover. We will do our bit. But I think as all of you, graduating from institutions like this, you should have a plan. It has to begin. It has to begin here, right? And I think there are only two camps, right? The camps that are of George Mallory's, right? Who can set the trend for others to follow, or there is another camp which is Steve Jobs, and I think you're somewhere in the middle. So till then, I would say stay hungry, stay smart, right? Not necessarily foolish. Try to make the best use of the opportunities that is given to you. That is what I would leave this message with. Right? Thank you so much for the opportunities, and I wish each of you the very best. Right? Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your insights.
I request the Principal, Dr. P. Prakasan, to honor the Chief Guest with a memento. Thank you, sir. It is now time to announce the awards.
The management is delighted to honor the services rendered by the teaching and the supporting staff retired during the period 1st March 2020 to 28th February 2022. I request the Principal, Dr. Prakashan, and the Chief Guest, Mr. Radhakrishnan Rajagopalan, to honor the recipients with the mementos.
I now call upon the recipients to come to the dais to receive the mementos. Dr. R. Harichandran, Associate Professor, Mobile Department. Tirudhi Satish Chandran, Assistant Professor, Senior Grade, Mechanical Department. Tirumati G. Maragadam, Deputy Office Superintendent, Applied Mathematics and Computer Science Department. Ms. N. Savitri, Deputy Office Superintendent, Civil Department.
Tirumati C.V. Sundarambal, Assistant, CSRC. Mr. R. Varadaraju Perumal, Office Assistant, Senior Grade, Office. Tirumati Ganeshan, Office Assistant, Special Grade, ECE Department. Tirumati Sanjeevi, Health Labor, General Maintenance. It is now time to honor the teachers.
Dr. R. Sundaramurthy Award for Outstanding Academic of PhD College of Technology, instituted by Dr. S. Rajshekharan, former Professor of Civil Engineering, PhD Tech goes to Dr. L. Ashok Kumar, Professor, EEE Department.
Next, Dakshinamurthy Award for Teaching Excellence among the faculty members of the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, instituted by Sri Ram Ramakrishnan, USC, goes to Dr. P. Devaraj, Professor, EEE Department.
Endowments have been created by alumni and other well-wishers for awarding prizes for best outgoing students from various branches of study. The award carries a certificate, cash, and medal. I now call upon the following students to receive the awards.
Best Outgoing Student Awards for the present final-year students, Civil Engineering, Karthik Bhavana, Mechanical Engineering, Sudan, Electrical and Electronics Engineering, Gopala Krishna A. Electronics and Communication Engineering, Shruti Chandrakumar. Metallurgical Engineering, Shakti Bharani. Production Engineering, Sudhakar. Automobile Engineering, Hemant Siddhartha D. Computer Science and Engineering, Shweta M. Biomedical Engineering, Nandakumar R. Robotics and Automation Engineering, Andrew Prasad A.
BTech programs, Fashion Technology, Smriti S. Biotechnology, Purnima HG. Information Technology, Ravi Subramanian N. Sandwich programs, Mechanical Engineering, Pioneering Drive. Electrical and Electronic Engineering, Snega M. Production Engineering, Vignesh Raja M. BSc programs, Applied Science, Praveen C. Computer Systems and Design, Praveen S.
ME programs, Structural Engineering, Swarnamukhi K. Infrastructure Engineering, Shruti S. Engineering Design, Ram Abhishek S. Industrial Engineering, Arvind S. Computer Integrated Manufacturing, Nagadakshana R. Energy Engineering, Purification K. Manufacturing Engineering, Lokis Arvind K. Applied Electronics, Nikita MS.
Power Electronics and Drives, Marishwari A. Embedded and Real-Time Systems, Vijayasagar B. Communication Systems, Avinukandan S. VLSI Design, Manisha CM. Wireless Communication, Niveda S. Computer Science and Engineering, Priyanka S. Automotive Engineering, Abhijit Joseph. Biometrics and Cybersecurity, Bhuvneshwari S.
Infant Programs, Textile Technology, Vijay Venkatraman D. Information Technology, Tarini RS. Nanoscience and Technology, Shrina R. MSc Programs, Applied Mathematics, Siva Pratibha M. Software Systems, Akhilesh R. Theoretical Computer Science, Amrita S. Data Science, Matilda E. Fashion Design and Merchandising, Guru Shri N.
MCA program 2019 to 2022, Madhumita G. Two 2020 to 2022, Armin Agasinda A. MBA program, Kavya Meena D. Waste Management and Social Entrepreneurship, Malavika R. MBA program, full-time, Priyadarshini R. So, BTech program, Textile Technology, University R.
Instrumentation and Control Engineering, Sri Harshini P. I request the parent to receive the award on behalf of the student. MTech program, Biotechnology, Rajalingam R. I request the parent to receive the award on behalf of the student. Now, the recipients of other awards. The Learning Proficiency Award instituted by Professor K. Nagaraju Naidu, former faculty, PhD Tech, goes to Ashwin B. 4th year B Triple. Rasinga M. 5th B Triple Sandwich.
Professor V. Rajaran, Computer Science and Engineering Award instituted by Professor N. Balakrishnan, IISc Bangalore, goes to Sneha Sridharan, 4th year BE CSE.
Design Forum Award instituted by Mr. C.G. Raghunathan, Architectural and Structural Engineering Consultant Coordinator goes to Yugandran S. 4B Civil Engineering.
MD Mangalakaran Award instituted by Mr. P.R. Damodaran and well-wishers. Conductor to the best vocalist and instrumentalist goes to best vocalist Sadhana Anand, 4th year B Biomedical. Best instrumentalist Siddharth Krishnan Nair, 4th year B Mechanical.
K. Sivanyanam Endowment Award, instituted by Ms. Sabita Salem, an alumnus of PhD Tech, for the best blood donor goes to Arvind Raj S. 4B Metallurgical Engineering.
Best Outgoing Sportsman Award instituted in the name of late S. John Maria Lewis, former Physical Director, PSG Polytechnic College, and Ms. Shobana Shivanyanam. Salem goes to Mohammed Samsuddin Sufi, 5th year BE Sandwich Mechanical.
Best Outgoing Sportswoman Award, instituted in the name of Mrs. D. Rajabai Christina Memorial Award, goes to Navina K.S. 4th BTech IT. Design Forum Award goes to Yugandran S. 4B Civil.
Srimati Palaniammal Award instituted by Mr. Velmurugan Ravindran, an alumnus of 68 BE Mechanical, goes to Kamalesh M, 5th year BE Sandwich Mechanical. Subramaniam Kaur, 4th year BE Production.
P.D. Prakash Memorial Award for Social Service, instituted by 2005 batch of BEC, ME VLSI Design and ME Communication Systems of PSG College of Technology. The award, carrying a rolling trophy and a cash prize, goes to Mukul S. 4B INC. And Priyadashni SM 4B Chukli.
Best NCC Cadet Award instituted by PSG College of Technology goes to Bharat M, 2nd year BE Production. Devasena S, 2nd year BE ECE.
Best NSS Volunteer Award, instituted by PSG College of Technology, goes to Vishal SK, 3rd BE Mechanical. Darshini R, third BTech Fashion Technology. Thank you, sirs. I request Dr. K. Prakashan, Dean, Student Affairs, to honor the Student Union Office Bearers. I request Dr. K. Natajan, Dean, Student Affairs, to honor the Student Union Office Bearers.
Good evening, one and all present here. With Office Bearers of Students Union, 2021-22, various efforts to see that all the student activity and functions were conducted successfully. They coordinated efficiently all the activities of Students Union with real commitment. Their adroitness in planned and timely executions highly appreciated. In order to recognize their contribution, we would like to honor them with a memento and a certificate to each one of them. I request the chief guest and our principal to honor them. Let me first welcome Ms. B. LRC, Secretary of Science, MSc, Fashion Design and Merchandising. Ms. Suresh Kumar Shankuti, Secretary, Women, EC. Mr. S. Naresh, Secretary, Men, Computer Science and Engineering. Mr. P. Sri Sairam, Chairperson, Final New Mechanical Sandwich Program. Mr. R. Nandakumar, Chairperson, Final Year Biomedical Engineering. Thank you, sirs. I wish each and every one of them a very wonderful and purposeful career. Thank you.
Now, the much awaited prestigious award, the College Kudakalwar Award for the best outgoing student of the college, consisting of a rolling trophy, a pure silver medal, and a cash prize of rupees 10,000 will be announced by the principal.
I request the principal to announce the winner of the prestigious Kudakalwar Award. The Kudakalwar Award was instituted in the year 1956-57 by the students of 1957 batch, the first batch of PhD College of Technology, in memory of their classmate, Mr. S. Kudakalwar.
So it is my duty to read or announce the candidate who is conferred with the Kudakalwar Award. The candidate chosen for the Kudakalwar Award presented to the best outgoing student of PhD College of Technology for the year 2021-22 has maintained a CGPA of over 9 up to the pre-final semester, has successfully completed many global level certified courses, has undergone internship at industries and has completed a few mini projects, has participated in technical workshops, symposia conducted in-house at other institutions, has been a class representative, an active member of Executive and Students Union, affiliated clubs, college hostel, has been an active member of NSS and taken part in NSS camps, has been a team captain, a gold medal winner in an event at Anna University zonal level, and also was a mini marathon runner, has been coaching students residing in the children's home as a part of youth outreach activity, has been placed in a leading software company. So, any guess? So, the Koratalwar Award for the best outgoing student of PhD Tech for the year 21-22 goes to M. Sneha. Final year. B. Nicholas Sanders.
Thank you, sirs. I invite the Secretary of Students' Union, Ms. Ankriti, Secretary Women, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good evening to the Honorable Chief Guest, respected principal, teachers, and my dear students. On behalf of the Students' Union and PhD College of Technology, I thank the Honorable Chief Guest for sparing his valuable time amidst his busy schedule and inspiring the young minds by sharing his experiences to transform them into responsible professionals in future. I would like to thank our respected principal for his support throughout the event. I would like to thank the deans, associate deans, HODs, faculty guests, parents, and all the awardees for joining us and making this event a grand success. I would like to thank the MC desk. I would like to thank the volunteers and the support staff for the wonderful work they have put up in making this event a success. I, on behalf of Students' Union, wholeheartedly thank Dr. J. Krishnamurthy, Professor and Head, and all the faculty and staff of the Department of Metallurgical Engineering for having taken painstaking efforts to host the Tech Day celebration successfully. Once again, I thank everyone for your cordial cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you. I request the gathering to raise for the national anthem.
We thank all of you for gracing this event with your presence.
We request you all to join for the refreshments to celebrate the social day. Thank you, one and all.